Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Jeff, I am freaking excited today.
Why today?
Well, first off, we were just listening to Air Supply in
Yes,
the studio.
That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, greatest rock band,
Their
80s.
love music is
A little Def Leppard, little
God.
REO Speedwagon. I'm bringing it back,
Styx.
brother. Styx.
Yeah.
Mr. Roboto.
Yeah. Domo arigato.
Hey, Mr. Roboto. No, Jeff, I'm excited because we have not only our first guest on the show today on the Diamond Deals.
Yep.
We have what I consider to be like a mentor, but he
Mhm.
didn't even know he was a mentor to me until this past December.
Yeah.
And
Is that him calling in live on the
no,
air?
he's not calling in it just
No.
yet. That's
Okay,
that's my
fair
phone, and I forgot to put it on vibrate.
That's fine.
My fault.
That happens. No, you
But
said
yeah,
that
he
a
didn't
minute
even
ago.
know he was a mentor to me until this past December.
Okay.
I have followed this man for a long time. I have been friends with him on Facebook.
Mhm.
I have seen him countless times at the winter meetings and throughout my career in Major League Baseball as an agent.
Right.
And up until this last December, I never went up to him and said hello or introduced myself. I knew who he was. I
Right.
saw him all the time. And I would wave to him and I would say,
Hello.
and I'd forget to say hi. And it's a really, really true story that I was almost not intimidated, because I'm not intimidated by anything.
Yeah.
I was just, and not starstruck either.
Mhm.
Just, I never had the courage to go up to him. It would either be he was talking to the owner of the White Sox, or he was talking to Tommy Lasorda, or he was
Right.
talking to somebody, and I was just like, not
You
the
just
time
don't-
to,
Yeah, you don't want to.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would always wave, and he always would wave back.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny story about it is this year, or this past December, when I was at the winter meetings in Nashville, we had a moment,
Okay.
and we had a moment at the check-in desk, and he was there. I was checking in. He was checking in. I waved. He looked at me. He waved back.
Mhm.
And then I went, that was our moment. A day later,
Oh boy.
I'm sitting in the atrium area of the hotel lobby where everybody kind of would congregate and people were arriving and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And because I always get out a day early. I always get out there to kind of get my feet wet, learn where everything's going to be, make my move to get a quiet spot if I need to meet with a team or whatever, or even a vendor or marketing deal, whatever. So I'm sitting there. It was the day as everybody was getting there, and he walked by again. And I went, and he came up to me. And Jeff, I'm not kidding you. He sat with me the whole entire day.
Damn.
Never got up. And introduced me to some pretty damn cool people as they were walking in.
Yeah.
And it was amazing and awesome experience and an honor to sit there and talk to him all day long.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I have talked to him countless times on the phone, spoke with him in, brief meetings, and hung out with him and had drinks with him and dinner with him and all kinds of stuff. And I consider him now a very close friend. And he's going to be joining us today. So I'm extremely excited. That this gentleman's name is Dennis Gilbert, the mastermind, as we just celebrated yesterday, as we do every single July 1st until the year 2035, I think it is.
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla Day. It's a famous day in Major League Baseball history for a contract. Mr. Dennis Gilbert negotiated that deal with the New York Mets. And he is going to be live on the program today with us from his office in Los Angeles. So he's 3 hours behind us currently right now. He's having lunch. And, he's going to be joining us here in a little bit. So
Nice.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Couldn't have kicked it off with a better guest.
Yeah.
Day after Bobby Bonilla Day, we have Jeff and I, the Diamond Deals podcast, we have Mr. Dennis Gilbert on the show. So, guys, if you're not tuned in yet, get tuned in. It's going to be one hell of a show. And on that note, how was your week?
You mean yesterday?
Since last week. Cheers.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's been okay. Still adjusting to grandpa life.
How's that treating you?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Oh, I freaking love it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing, but I haven't heard from you or seen you in a week since we came to the last show.
I haven't done crap.
And
I've been sitting at the house.
Are you legitimately like every day, like with the kid?
Yeah.
With the grandchild?
Yeah, they're staying with us right now. And so it's just one of them things where I'm like, this is awesome. I walked out the other day to take the trash can up, had him with me, and which was weird because I looked over at Bella and I was just like, you mind if I take him out to get the garbage cans? He's like, I don't care. He needs the sunlight. And I'm like, beautiful.
Right.
I ended up taking like 3 neighbors' cans up just so I could hang out. But it's nice because I sit there and talk to him and I get the exact answer I want to hear.
He doesn't say much, right?
Nothing. It's beautiful. So, no,
Just
he's awesome.
A couple smiles here and there, and that's about it.
I get him to smile. Well,
you know when he's got a dirty diaper yet?
Yeah, is when I hand him right back to Trenton. Oh, here you go, pal. So he
needs a hose down.
Yeah, it's like there was a comedian that once said, he never understood parents, having kids, and when they said, oh, Joey's got a mess in his diaper. It sounds like this looks like a present for Daddy. I'm thinking, this guy must be real easy to shop for the holidays. You know what I mean? If you're getting presents for Daddy, a dirty diaper, here you go.
All right.
Hey, Bill, here's a little action for your birthday. So that's what I do with Trenton. Here you go. He stinks. Hand him back. It's beautiful, dude. Kelly's loving it. Jackson loves it. Jackson's having a blast.
Really?
Oh, man. Has a blast.
Wow.
So what's the question here? Which celebrity have you met where you have felt starstruck and not said what you wanted to say?
Derek Jeter.
Derek, yeah, that would be yours.
He's the only one that physically I was lost for words. We talked about that. My son got a chance to take a picture with him when we were at the Marlins game when he first took over ownership.
Yeah.
And I was invited up there. And, he took the picture with Dylan. Dylan still has the baseball in his hand, never gets it signed before he got elected to the Hall of Fame too. And all I said to him was, would you mind taking a picture with my kid? And all I remember him saying was, weren't we just hanging out for the last 3 hours in the owner's box? Because my guy had got traded over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was invited to go watch. And I was in the owner box with him, Michael Hill, Gary Dembo, and a bunch of the, player development people and farm directors and Derek himself, as well as his wife and their kid, his assistant, and Derek. And I played it as professional as possible because I'm really there for work, but I happened to be able to bring Dylan. They were playing the Yankees.
That works.
So it was surreal because I never was up and close and personal with him in that manner from a business perspective. Not only from that, he's now the owner. He's my player's boss.
Mm-hmm.
And it was surreal because it was the first time I ever met him. So yeah, that's the only person that has ever done that to me. I didn't know what to say.
Mine,
except for here, can you take my picture with my kid?
Yeah, mine was Steven Tyler. When I met Steven Tyler at the amphitheater working for Budweiser, I didn't know what to say to that dude, man.
Right.
Like, no freaking clue. And
yeah,
just weird.
I've never gotten starstruck. The other thing too is I think about this a lot sometimes when I watch TikTok and they show some of these reels of like, Sylvester Stallone walking around in Beverly Hills and how they look now and versus how they would have looked years ago. And would you ever actually physically recognize them? Because a lot of them try to go out and disguise it a little bit too. You know what I mean? They try to stay as, unrecognizable as possible when they're in the public. But I've been good with faces, but not names. And I've never really came across a situation like that where I was like, oh, that's what's his face.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't either.
So many
I've never, even when I worked in radio for years, I mean, I don't know how many people I would meet that I just was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I mean, Amy Lee from Evanescence was freaking awesome. But yeah, Sean on there, I'm probably going to mispronounce his name. Is it Huber?
Sean Hubbard. Yeah,
Hubbard?
we talked about Sean
we
last
talked about
week.
him last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sean's
But
a
I knew I
good
was
friend
gonna
of
miss-
ours.
But his answer was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Is not a tumor.
Yeah, that's what I would have asked. I would have said,
Who is your
boys have a-
daddy and what does he do?
Yeah, I would be like, oh, where are you headed to? Get to the chopper.
Go to the chopper.
Get to the chopper now.
I'm from Portland. I'm a kindergarten teacher.
But anyway, I see Cody's listening. So
Cody Lee.
yeah,
Cody Lee and I are going to hang out
Schwarzenegger
for a good minute here coming up soon. Dylan's getting to travel over to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee for the Cal Ripken experience. And him and his teammates, the Canes Select. And we are going to have a great time there. I'm looking forward to it. The kids have so much deserved this. They are good kids. They play together. They enjoy each other's company. They've learned together. And Cody said something to me the other day, and I'm not going to air out some of the dirty laundry, but we got rained out on Sunday.
Mhm.
Dylan was supposed to play, or their team was supposed to play the West Boca Panthers in Boca, and unfortunately the weather was crappy all morning, and it just ruined the whole entire situation. But so Cody and the team went back up to Port St. Lucie, and they ended up having a practice. Well, Cody looked at it as this way. The kids just got up early because they had to come down from Port St. Lucie, right? The game was scheduled for like 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
And they rode all the way down there, didn't get to play, went all the way back home, and all he wanted to do was let them have some fun. It was a day. There's a day to practice, and there's a day to let the kids enjoy themselves and on kind of unwind a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm all for that. I'm all for letting these kids be kids.
Yeah.
It's not always look. Yes, are they 12? Yes, they're coming into a time where baseball is either going to become very serious at 13 years old for the fall season, or it's going to be something that I did this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay. And I get that part. And I support it to a certain situation of they're still kids. They're kids at 13. They're kids at 14. They're kids at 15, 16, 17, 18. You can fight for your country. You're not a kid anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe they need to change the alcohol rule, but that's another topic for another story.
Yep.
If you can die for your country, you can have a beer while you're doing it.
Yep.
Period, end of story. And I think that needs to change.
Yep.
But on the other hand, when you're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, you're still a kid.
Agreed.
And you should be able to act like a kid.
Yeah.
In certain situations. Now, I'm all for you step over that line, it's time to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But in this situation, he was 100% right. They wanted to unwind.
Who was 100% right?
Cody.
That's rare.
I can't believe I'm saying that on air.
Wow.
But anyways, he
Jesus.
was 100. I totally agreed with him. He was 100% right. He wanted the kids to have some fun. I wish Dylan could have got a chance to go up there. So far in distance, but we actually are going to be going to practice tomorrow up there. But since he's been playing with them, he hasn't even had that experience with them because he's been playing rec. That's dominated our time. The Dominator dominates all of our time because between the two of them, they're always at the baseball field.
Mm-hmm.
And it became a situation where Dylan wasn't even allowed or even able or capable of going because it was during a school night and couldn't get up there. Now he's got some time and we're going to bring him up there. And, I'm looking forward to it because it's part of fun and baseball is practicing with your team.
Yeah.
And then executing what you practice.
100%.
Right?
That's the name of the game. Yeah.
You learn from your practices and you also learn from the mistakes that you didn't execute in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you learn baseball. That's how you develop. So I'm all for the kidding around and unwinding and having a fun time on a day where they were supposed to be serious and have fun and step over that line and go to work, but it didn't work out that way.
Right.
So they went back and they did, and it doesn't have to be drill sergeant crap.
Yeah, agreed. There's a time and place for that.
Kudos to you, Cody. I know I don't give you too many compliments, not that you deserve them. But
I think it was Megan's birthday last week.
It was. I was the first one to wish her a happy birthday.
Did you? I was probably the last one.
Yep. Well, that's because you're slow.
I am. I'm old.
Slim slow.
That's me.
We are going to be bringing in our guest live here on air in probably the next 20 minutes. He's going to be in our green room waiting for us to bring him on. But for those of you who didn't catch the beginning of the show, we thank you for joining. And we are going to have a legend, and I mean a legend, in the business of Major League Baseball. He did one of the most famous contracts of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a day named after it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a day named after you?
My birthday.
There you go. That's about the only thing you got.
That's it.
Only thing I got too. So
got my birthday.
My dude's got a day named after him because of the deal he negotiated for his client.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, Bobby Bonilla Day should be Dennis Gilbert Day as well. Because he's the one that negotiated it.
Well, I mean, I'm going to bring it up to him when he gets on, but I mean, other agents now are shooting. I shouldn't say agents, but players and agents are shooting for the ideal. I mean, Ohtani pretty much just redid the same thing. In a way, he gets paid a certain percentage this time, but then for like the next 25 years, he's making
that's fine. But they don't have Ohtani Day.
But they won't,
and they won't exactly unless they're going to bet on it.
Yeah, but yeah.
You saw where I was going with that. Yes. How you like that? Unless the interpreter was getting ready to hit the craps table. So the truth is that he is the originator. Of the prolonged contract.
Yeah.
That's it. Period of story. Mm-hmm. There's nobody else to do it before him. He did it. Dennis did it. He did it for his client. He is the man in my book, and he's probably one of the nicest men you'll ever meet. And you'll see in about 20 minutes when he comes on air.
Yep.
It was a great opportunity to talk with him, and so much stuff we went over, and so much things that he told me, and knowledge, and how he went after clients, and everything he did. This man sat with me he didn't have to sit with me for 9 hours. And I'm not kidding you. He sat with me for 9 hours. It was just, I hope that my kids do that for somebody one day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would do it for somebody now just because I like doing it. I like talking. I like explaining a lot about the business, but there aren't many people out there like that anymore.
No,
New York, man, you're lucky if they don't roll you over while you're walking down the street in Manhattan, nonetheless stop to give you directions. So
I just had this debate with somebody the other day. It looked like the last real, and I mean the real generation, would be Gen X, man.
Yeah.
Was our generation. Was the last real set of people.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have safe spaces and we weren't gluten-free crap.
Watch your language. It's a kid show.
Well, I see Dylan's on, so I think it's past his bedtime, according to Daniel.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have all that. We drank from hoses. We slept in cribs. It was lead-based paint. I mean, it is what it is. We came out right, but we talked to people. And that's what we did. And like this generation just doesn't do that, man.
No,
everybody's worried.
Well, first off, everybody, it's kind of like, be careful what you say because you don't want to offend anybody. Careful what you do because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We talked about this last week. People are so tough and so big behind the TV screen or behind the computer screen or the phone. Nobody approaches anybody anymore. It's just quicker to go behind, Facebook or some group
just text
chat.
Something and be done.
Yeah. Instead of actually physically talking to somebody and talking it out. Hey man, you got a problem? What's up?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? Tell me. I'll better myself.
Then you're going to do it.
Why not? Aren't we supposed to be bettering ourselves?
Yeah.
Aren't we? Isn't that what you teach Jackson? I teach Dylan that. You're not going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't know anybody that's perfect. Do you?
No.
So how do you better yourself if you don't know what you're doing wrong? And how are you going to be honest with people if you don't confront them?
Yep.
It's a life lesson, man.
It is, man. You got to fail to succeed.
That's right.
So,
in other news, anything? I mean, the Panthers won the cup.
Still loving it.
I mean, did you watch the parade?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw Danny went.
Yeah, he went.
Did you see Danny went down there?
Yeah, he went. My cousin Sarah and her husband Nick.
Danny from the Boulevard. And your cousins went?
Yeah, they went.
I ran into them. Did they tell you?
No.
Matt's ex-wife, Carrie.
Yeah.
Her cousin, Colleen,
mm-hmm.
her father passed away.
Okay.
So prayers and condolences to the family. And I attended the celebration of life. Your cousin was there. I walked in.
Colleen, like she's married to Tim?
Tim and Colleen.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
very good. They know each other all like for a long time.
Yeah, I've known them too.
It's everywhere I go. I see an Aubrey.
We're all over the freaking place.
It's like you know who reminds me of, you guys remind me of so much is Dean. Dean goes anywhere he knows somebody. Hillman.
Oh, Hillman?
Oh, forget it.
Jesus.
I mean, between the two businesses, you guys have been around for 300 years.
Yeah, that's true. I remember when I was a kid, my parents took us to Disney World, and we're standing in line. All of a sudden, I hear somebody yell, "Hey, Butch, how you doing?"
At Disney World?
God,
and your dad hates Disney
bro.
World.
Oh, he hates Disney World. Jesus, don't even get me started with that. But which I think I have to go there in September.
Why?
Bella's 21st birthday. She wants to drink around the world. Okay.
She might make it to 2 countries.
That's it. I'm going to try to go as many as I can.
I did that one time.
Oh, I've never done it.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard
I passed out around France.
Yeah.
I said, oui. In my pants.
Oh, my God.
So drunk, I pissed myself.
This was what, last week? Or
No. Well, getting older. Can't hold the bowels anymore.
You ain't telling me nothing now.
Yeah, no, it was. I did that one time. It was not a good situation.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yep.
Never been to drink around the world, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
also,
actually,
want to shout out Daniel too. Daniel's at home streaming us now, so thanks, Daniel.
Our
Appreciate
production team is in the house.
Yep. He's live,
or in his house.
He's live on the air. Except on his computer.
He's drinking around the world as we speak.
Yeah, that's what he's telling us right now.
Or around the living room.
He's drinking around the world from home.
Yeah,
I don't blame you, buddy.
Yeah, God bless. Hey, man. Cheers.
Yeah.
Have a Celsius.
Mazel tov.
Salute.
Yeah, but otherwise has been fine. In sports news, I mean, really, let's face facts. Nobody's really watching baseball right this second because everybody waits.
I don't know. I'm watching it.
I do too, but I'm just saying that. I'll ask Cody the other day. I'm like, "Oh, did you see the Braves came back at 1?" He goes, "I didn't see it."
Cody doesn't know anything about anything except for the Kane Select right now.
That's it.
He's all dialed in.
That's all.
Well, and then also he was dialed into playoff time or All Stars. So they just finished that up. You know, all the kids and congratulations to all the kids that made All Stars and went into the districts or even made it past to sectionals or states. We had West Boynton, Little League, they made it over to states this past weekend. Unfortunately, they lost, but they made it all the way out there, man. It's not. Let me tell you something. That is not an easy road at all.
Tough.
I did it many times. It's not easy. Now, every single time I went districts, never lost districts. I never lost sectionals. I lost states once. And then I never lost again. And I lost regionals once going to the World Series. Southeast region. So, and it was not easy.
Yeah.
Because every time you get to another step, it gets harder. Not only does it get harder, kids start to get fatigued.
Yeah. I was just going to say
pitching is an issue.
Yep.
I'm a big believer, and I learned my lesson many times, is you can never win these tournaments without enough pitching. If you don't have enough pitching, just don't even bother going.
Yeah.
Because pitching wins tournaments.
Yep.
Period. It wins World Series. So why wouldn't it win tournaments? You have to go in there with a good amount of pitching that can throw strikes, especially at the youth level. And then you have to hit. But most importantly, you have to pitch, because if you do not pitch and you walk the farm, you are going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Or you run out of pitching and you're throwing the second baseman who hasn't pitched all year, you're losing.
Yeah.
Unless that kid comes out of nowhere. And 9 out of 10 times, that's not what happens.
Truth.
Those kids get warmed up as the tournament keeps going on. The bats get better, the pitching gets worse.
Yeah, that's true, because they just get tired.
They get tired. Kids are still swinging, but the pitchers are burnt.
They're worn out.
They've thrown 3 games in 2 days.
Yeah.
That's
the hard part with youth baseball. That's with that right
now.
Little
League has set it up perfectly for that, is that if you go past a certain threshold, you're done. You got to have that day off. Yeah. And that's when All-Stars come into play. So, I watched a kid this past weekend or a week ago that legitimately was throwing probably harder than some 15-year-olds. I've never seen anything like this before.
Damn.
He was on Boca Little League.
Mm-hmm.
He was the team that beat Wellington to make it to sectionals.
Sectionals, yeah.
Right. In Dylan's division. And, look, I made a little joke and I was like, we all seen bench warmers, right? You know,
Mhm.
I am 12,
Yeah.
right? But when was the last time you saw a kid get 17 strikeouts
Hmm.
in 6 2/3 innings?
It doesn't happen.
I
But it
mean,
did. It
but
did,
it did.
yeah.
And you know,
And then he got in his car and drove away.
let's just put it this way. I said something, it got back to somebody, and I was asked very nicely that wasn't the right thing to do, and they were right. And I wore it because I wouldn't want somebody doing it to my kid.
Agreed.
So I felt, you know, I had one of those moments where I bowed my head and I said,
Yeah.
That wasn't good. Shouldn't do that."
Yeah, but jokes are jokes. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I wasn't joking.
Oh, okay.
No,
Fair
I
enough.
wasn't joking. I
Oh,
thought
fair
for sure he was not 12 years old. Thought
Maybe
for
he
sure.
wasn't.
Well, look, it got to the point where I talked to the mom.
Oh.
Yeah. And look, I was very polite and I said, "Ma'am, look, I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Ever. And I've seen talent all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean talent. I've been to Japan. I've been to Korea. I've been to the Bahamas. I have been to the Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
I've been all around the world. And I've seen high level play. I have never seen a 12-year-old strike out 17 people in 6 2/3 innings, giving up only one hit, one walk, and no runs. I've never seen any of that. I wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's what I told her. I said, "Ma'am, I was signing your kid right now.
Yeah.
But I just don't think he's 12. So tell me what he really is.
Tell me how old he really
I
is.
just need to know the birth certificate. So we get past the MLB stuff and they don't have to say I'm lying to them.
Yeah.
Tell me what it is. Because I don't care. I just don't believe in cheating
Mm-hmm.
at all. And I don't
Agreed.
believe it's that important to get on ESPN.
Yes.
I don't.
I agree with you.
And people have done that. Look,
Mm-hmm.
Danny Almonte did it. The girl or the team from Chicago did it, Jackie
Mhm.
Robinson. So there's been people that have worked their way through the cracks and got through and cheated.
Yeah.
And got all the way to the big stage and won and then got their stuff ripped away from them. So it has happened.
That's going to be embarrassing as hell.
It has to be. But is it worth it? So I wasn't like trying to say, "Ma'am, like your son is a cheater." I'm just saying, like, really? Like, I don't see this.
Yeah. I mean, you coached, I coached, and the rest of you guys out there that coached, that listen.
Yeah.
You know, let's face facts here. Is it worth cheating to get all the way up to win?
No.
And then have it ripped away?
What?
That's got to be worse, bro.
Well,
Like,
and they banned the league for years.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, with we went through Shapiro with Miami.
Yeah.
They had their rights, their ball rights stripped away.
Yeah.
So no different than Little League. They'll strip away your postseason and your All-Star rights.
Yeah.
So is it worth it?
No, because all you're doing is screwing the kids in the long run. So
You're screwing the kids. It's not acceptable to cheat at that level or any level. And then what happens if you get caught? You hurt the whole entire team.
Yep.
And then you hurt the kids that could have made it.
Yeah, true.
That should have beat you. Or somewhere along the line you would have lost.
Yeah.
So it's a trickle down effect, man. What are you really gaining out of it?
You're not.
You know, look,
you're going to go down as the coach that cheated to get there.
We had Devin Travis on the show, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of the most memorable times of his life. None of those kids cheated. And they earned it. They got all the way to the end. And they didn't win the US title. Oh, I'm sorry, the international title, but they won the US title.
Right.
And you know, that was the most exciting time. And that's when Little League was on fire.
Yeah, I remember them days.
There was no travel baseball really at that point. Like it was dying down.
Yep.
I mean, or it was just beginning, I should say. Little League was dying down right around that 02 area.
Yeah.
You know? So
now are you a fan of rec baseball?
Love the rec baseball.
Love rec baseball.
Love rec baseball. Still a component of it.
So you're fine with a kid doing like double dipping?
I don't know if I'm okay with it. You know, somebody asked me yesterday, what am I going to do with Dominic? And I said, well, he's only 8. And and Dylan, you know, this is very, very true story, is Dylan's age group of his rec years were very good kids and very, you know, respectful kids and came from nice parents and good teammates and stuff like that. But they weren't the most talented. In fact, this all-star team that he just played on, they finally won their first game since they all started playing all-stars.
Really?
They weren't the most talented bunch. Good kids, great kids,
Right.
but not the most talented bunch. But it's not always about talent, it's about having fun.
Right.
And if they had fun every year, it was worth it. But the truth of the matter is Dominic's group, holy schmoly, they're all good.
They're good. Yeah.
So, and it comes in waves like that with youth baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids, that bulk of kids in that age group can be really good, and then other years can be down some.
Yeah.
In Dominic's case, it's not. Dominic's case, it's
They're
pretty high up.
Yeah, they're all good.
In fact, I probably would have put him against Dylan's.
Well, and that's where, like I say, with and the reason why I asked that is because I don't know what I'm doing yet with this travel crap thing. I don't know what I'm going to
give up on it.
I'm about to.
And I'm not saying that to be rude.
No, I'm fine with it, but it's one of them where I'm just like, I don't know, it's maybe not worth my time.
Yep.
And if that's the case, and I kind of brought it to Jackson about it, he kind of told me he wanted to go to the direction of flag football.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's not until like January, dude. Like,
yeah.
What the hell are you going to do until then? So I don't know if I'm going to go to which I'm not going back to the other place. I'm going to another joint, but as far as for rec, but I don't know. That's why I figured I'd ask while we're on the air.
I think you're better off sitting with rec.
Yeah.
I mean, were the kids around Jackson talented?
Not 100%,
but I mean, they're good enough team, right? To win.
As far as the all-star team that I had,
just in general, just the kids. Like I could tell by Dominic's teams the way he played against some of the teams within the league. Forget the all-star portion of it, and even playoffs, and then I'm talking the league. There were some really, really good games.
Yeah,
that they played.
We had good games. We had some good games, and there were some kids that he went against that. I mean, obviously had some skill, and that he did well against. But again, I also it's one of them where I don't know. Like I said, I'm used to the one area's way because that's what I've done for the last, 4 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to go to another place where he's going to feel that he's outcasted.
Right.
And, like I told him the other day, I was like, well, you kind of already are. So it is what it is. I said, here's what I want you to understand. Here's this, and this is what I want. This is the conversation that I've had with my kid.
Yep.
Okay. He's 10, turning 11, and to him, he has no friends. He has nobody that wants to hang out. He doesn't have any friends.
Dylan and want to hang out.
Yeah, which is, to him, that's family to him. So he doesn't understand that part of it.
Right.
But like I told him, I'm like, dude, it's very rare, especially with you guys now. Our generation, different story. But now you're not going to be friends with that person at 10 years old. And then at 20, you're going to still be friends with them.
It's a little
chances are you're not going to be that way. So suck it up, Buttercup, and move on. I blame myself. I'm not trying to give like a parental freaking guidance class here, but I blame myself for a lot of it because I take him everywhere with me. So he's around nothing but adults. Mm-hmm. He's around nothing but adult humor. I mean, the kid jumped up after we scored our first goal against Edmonton in game 1 and jumped up and yelled, "Suck on that, Canada." And I'm like, oh.
My bad.
But yet everybody at Alabama Joe's was like, hell yeah, dude, and high-fiving him. And I'm like, yeah, he's 10. Yeah. I got to work on that. But again, it's like Trenton said the other night. Yeah, but in 3 years, when he's 13, he's going to be the funniest freaking 13-year-old. They're all going to understand his humor at that time.
Right.
He's got to develop that. But that's why he doesn't want to go to rec at a whole nother place because he doesn't feel like he'll make any friends. And I'm like,
see, I beg to differ with you. I think he needs a little bit of a change of scenery.
That's what I said.
Yep, I think he does. And not only that, but I was laughing if Jesse and Danny and those guys are listening to Browner. The other night, I was sitting at the Bing, sitting staring at the pool in my normal spot where I sit.
Yep.
And Dylan had a bunch of friends over.
Okay.
And can't believe I'm gonna say this on air. I had a flashback really quick, like one of those wow, like it just flashed in front of my eyes, like this is deja vu type stuff. And my deja vu with it was my friends were always at my house.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we were always over there in the freaking pool and
Always
shit.
at my house. And Danny and Jesse. So I took a picture and I sent it in my group with Danny and Jesse and everybody that we have. And I said, deja vu. The only thing we're missing here is satellite dish and porn.
I forgot about that.
And they busted out laughing.
Oh, that's
but
great.
that's what. So I was actually I was happy. Why? Because it brought me back to what I have said is missing. There's nobody out hanging out at people's houses anymore. You can't tell who's at anywhere. There's no bicycles in front of the driveway. Nobody's playing kickball or stickball or tennis ball, baseball in a cul-de-sac or nothing anymore. They're all on their freaking phones sitting inside playing PlayStation. It's annoying.
Yeah, agreed.
So I was really like, and I'll tell you, all the kids that were there, where were they from? West Point.
West Point.
Majority of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Licata, Damien was there. I mean, all his friends. So I encourage you to make that change of scenery because I think it'll be helpful. Honestly.
Okay. All right. I'll do it.
So Jackson, Uncle Phil said it's okay.
Okay. I'll tell him.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Oh sure.
Are we close to our guest?
He's in the green room, but he's away from the camera for a second. He just messaged our producer.
He's in the queue.
Yeah. So,
I am extremely excited.
Yep. But I think he's back, I believe. I think Daniel just gave him the green light. So
I
think he's back. So go ahead. I guess we can go ahead and bring him in, Phil.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we mentioned in our beginning of our show and a couple of our segments here of the first half hour, 40 minutes of the show, we are honored. I am honored. Jeff is honored. I extremely am honored to have this gentleman on. I have said it multiple times on our show. He's like a mentor. And I am so glad that I finally brought up enough courage to speak with him during the winter meetings of this past year in Nashville. The gentleman took every possible moment to explain to me and everything that got his career. He is a former MLB agent. He negotiated one of the most famous deals in all of baseball history, the Bobby Bonilla deal that has its own day, which should be Bobby Bonilla Day and Dennis Gilbert Day, in my opinion.
Agreed.
He has been the special assistant to Jerry Reinsdorf and the Chicago White Sox.
Yep.
He most recently became the commissioner of Perfect Game Baseball.
Does this guy want to hire me for anything?
I mean,
what the hell?
he is one of the nicest people in the world. And I am truly, truly blessed to call him my friend now and also have him on the show. So, Dennis Gilbert, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Dennis.
Thank you, Phil.
Are you there? Can
Jeff,
you hear us?
nice to meet you.
He might be on mute.
Yeah, it might be mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think Daniel's working on it as well.
Okay.
I mean, he looks good from there.
He
Are we
he told me he was going to have makeup and everything in the office today to make sure he was looking good and ready to go. He is not muted.
Well, okay. Well, we don't know why we can't hear him.
Dennis, just give us a quick second. We're having some little bit of technical difficulties, but Daniel is on it. Just give us one quick moment.
Yeah, he's the best.
But back to the Jackson situation. You know, like I said, I think he will do wonders by changing a scenery and doing something that is a little bit different than he's used to.
Mm-hmm.
And you know.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Let's see here. Okay. I'll text it to you, Daniel. Actually, you got his number, so just text Daniel. All right. Dennis, we'll get you fixed here in a second.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as Jackson goes, man, I want him to do. I worry about him, you know, because of especially how he was speaking the other day. You know, I dealt with that for years with another son, and yeah, I'm not going to go through all that again. So, you know, that needs to get worked on as far as that end.
Right.
You know, and I will say that, you know, he's been requested, man. Like, I mean, I have a team that's calling me asking about him. So for travel baseball. So,
Right.
and I won't say it on the air just because.
No need.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I told him. I'm like, bro, I was like, it's a nice luxury to have when you have people reaching out to you. So, um, you know, it is what it is. Let's see here. Let's see what one of the comments are. So Dylan,
They were able to hear him.
yeah, Dylan could hear him, but we couldn't hear him. So
Well, that's kind of like what we're going through with Daniel. Like, I can't hear him when he's over on the other side, right?
yeah, no, you can't.
Yeah. So there's something with the audio, but we'll figure it out. We better.
Yeah, yeah, Jesus. All right, so wait a minute. So does he still work for the White Sox, Dennis?
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay, he still works for the White Sox.
I'm telling you, every time I saw him,
Yeah.
it was in the lobby. He was hanging outside with Jerry Reinsdorf. Jerry is a big cigar smoker.
All right.
Kind of like Jim Leland was a big cigarette smoker.
Love Jim.
You ever
Leland.
want to see Jerry Reinsdorf and Jim Leland during the winter meetings? Go outside. They're smoking a cigar or a cigarette.
Okay.
One or the other. So Dennis is, obviously still his assistant.
Go ahead. I got that. I'll back that up. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, he is still the assistant to special assistant to the Chicago White Sox. Makes a lot of, decisions, I guess you could say.
Okay.
For Dennis or for Jerry and for the organization.
Okay.
He's Jerry's right hand guy.
Yeah.
And has been for many, many years. And he actually is in the life insurance business now too.
All right.
Does life insurance. He does.
Let's see if Daniel can bring him back on.
Yeah.
Daniel, go ahead and bring him back on when you can.
Yep. I'm ready.
So let's see what we got here. Hopefully we can see what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if.
Well, the good thing about this, Jeff, is we have our own show.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. I see him.
All right. Yeah, I see him up. Let's see if we can hear him though.
Dennis, you talking?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. I got nothing.
No.
Can't hear anything. Maybe it's on our thing. Hold on.
All right.
What's it say?
There he is. Good job. I hear him now.
You hear me now?
Dennis, I hear you.
All right.
Perfect. Awesome. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
How's the weather in LA, my friend? Did you hear the intro that I gave you?
It's about 80 degrees today.
80 degrees? That's it?
That's it.
It's 99 here and 100% humidity. So
And that's just in the shade.
that's in the shade.
Oh, my.
Dennis, did you get to hear the intro that I gave you? I hope you did. If you didn't, I can do it again if you like.
No, Phil, thank you so much. It was very nice of you to say. I appreciate it.
No,
Nice
Dennis,
to meet you.
Well, I want to introduce you first. This is my friend Jeff, who I've been friends with since I'm 8 years old. I met him the first time on a baseball field here in Boynton Beach, Florida, and we've been friends ever since. And Jeff and I have, lived through the eyes of sports in our lives. And Jeff's a father of a boy and a couple other kids in his family unit, and as well as my boys. And I've talked a lot about my kids to you, but I think what our fans want to know and our listeners is we just celebrated a very special day yesterday, which was Bobby Bonilla Day, and you are the mastermind behind that deal. So let's hear how you got the Mets organizations the Mets organization to go along with that deal. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it was convincing Bobby, to defer money. And we deferred it into a product that was guaranteed at 8%. And we waited for a while and let the plan cook. And after a while, there was a big pot of money in there and started spitting out $1.193 million a year for 25 years.
Damn.
I mean, when you get that kind of offer, is it, first of all, is it the middle of the night, or back then were you, because now everything's like text messages, and very rarely do you get, the opportunity to sit in front of the organization and really discuss like a deal. Unless it's, a similar deal like this, or Otani or Harper or whatever, a lot of it's done over the phone these days. Was that something that you were with ownership at the time and sitting in front of them and kind of hashing that out?
No, it was, well, we ended up hashing it out, but I would say that it was, there weren't many deferred compensation deals. There were some at the
Mhm.
time, but none of this magnitude. And it helped the Mets because they needed to free money up to sign some free agents.
Right.
That worked for us too because Bobby didn't need $6 million a year to live on. He came from very conservative means, and he was a conservative guy and still is. And his whole mindset was saving. In fact, so we started talking about this in '91 when he became a free agent, and the Mets went along with it, and it was just working the deal out in itself.
Well, it was a hell of a deal to do at that time, and it really paved the way. I mean, are you in agreement that some of these deals now, the way they're getting, should be deferred, and doing what maybe Bobby did back then, and what you kind of paved the way for some of us as agents and people in the industry still?
I can't say, because I'm with a team of what other teams should be doing, or
Right.
what players should be doing because I'm not an agent anymore. But what I could say is that we've created a plan, an independent plan that can actually finance plans that are not too dissimilar from the Bonilla plan. And I've been doing business with an awful lot of professional athletes, former professional athletes, mostly entertainment people that want to, that finances stuff. And
Right.
we finance the product, put the money away, and then they start getting income somewhere between 15 and 20 years out. And it works.
What's easier? What's easier? I'm sorry, Dan, I don't mean to cut you guys off. What's easier to represent though? Is it a sports, like a line of sports, or like in the line of the entertainment industry? Like, what's easier to be an agent for?
Well, in the entertainment industry, I'm dealing mostly with CPAs and lawyers.
Mhm.
And in sports, you're dealing with financial advisors today, and they want to control everything. And that's a little tough sometimes because
Yeah.
you could, they're educatedly different than, let's say, accountants and lawyers, and they always think they can do better. Yeah, I'm very happy with compounding money tax free and giving income out. And so
Yeah.
I've been in the insurance business now right around 50 years. And uh, all my customers seem to be pretty satisfied, and I have an awful lot of them.
What's your biggest love? Negotiating a deal like Bobby's, or getting somebody to sign on for life insurance?
I would say Bobby's deal was very, very satisfying, but also some of the deals I've done for some of the big entertainment people or some of the players today that have done this deal have also been very satisfying. I'm very content with my life and very content with what I do.
Gotta love what you do, right, Jeff?
Hell yeah.
Damn. Got anything else? I got a
So-
bunch.
No, well, I was going to say. So now you're still with the White Sox, correct?
I'm with the White Sox, but my main
I see the
job
shirt. That's what gave it away. But yeah.
I'm in the insurance business. And,
Yep.
and as Phil alluded to, I'm with Perfect Game. and I'm involved in some charities, and I'm involved in a lot of stuff. So I'm a very busy guy.
I was gonna say, you sound busy.
You know, when I told you how I met him and how we started talking. So later on in the winter meetings, Dennis called me. They went out to for a meal that night with ownership and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, call me when you get back. You know, I'll have a drink before I get out tomorrow and head back home. And he was heading back as well. So about 11:30 at night, he texts me, where you at? So now, to know the Gaylord Opryland, it's a huge, huge facility. It's one side of the world to the other.
Yeah.
Huge in Nashville. And he was on the other wing where the lobby was, and I was on the other total opposite side. So I said, I'm at the restaurant on the other side. He's like, I'll be there in 2 minutes. And I'm like, no, you won't. and I looked, and he said, no, I'll be there in 2 minutes. And I said, okay. So I said, I'll meet you outside. I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I can't make it over there in 2 minutes. My man was running at 11:30 at night.
Damn.
Jogged all the way over across the bridge of the Opryland onto the other side. He is one of the most in shape, busiest guys, and just such a down-to-earth human being that I've ever met. Like, it's just a pleasure to know him and hear all the things that he's doing in the charities. And he's very involved with youth sports, which is something that we are very passionate about here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dennis, talk a little bit about some of your charities and what you're doing for the youth, baseball world out there. And I even noticed you have a field named after you too. Where is that at?
It's in South Central LA. That's where I grew up. I built a stadium, or I didn't build it. I just put the money up, and they built the stadium. So they call it Dennis Gilbert Field.
You ever go out there and pitch at all?
No.
I know you probably could still pitch.
I throw out the first ball. That's as close as that gets.
Well, I'll have to ask you if you maybe, I know you're doing us an honor and coming on the show, but maybe one time you could come down here to Florida and throw out the first pitch at one of our events. Is that something you would do?
Of course.
I know you would. This man, when I was talking to him, he was getting ready to go out one night and go to a charity event and looking dapper and everything. And he says to me, he goes, you ever want to come to LA? Just, let me know. I got my house and stay with me. It's just such a great individual.
Yeah.
And I appreciate his friendship. I got a couple more questions for you though, Dennis.
Sure.
Getting into the life insurance game and the industries that you have put your heart and soul, seems like everything you do, you enjoy doing. Kind of give some of our youth listeners a perspective of, first of all, how hard it is to do businesses and charities and be involved in MLB and some of the responsibilities that come with that, but also kind of give them a perspective of why you're doing it, and having the passion to do something, how it drives you. Because for me, helping people has always been a driving force. Helping and doing things for people that sometimes may never get those opportunities.
Well, Phil, the best I can tell you is that when I got out of baseball, I played professional baseball for a few years in the minors. I was scared out of my mind. Had no idea what I would do. And I went over to coach at a junior college. And they said, you can coach, you can be our coach, but we can't pay you as a coach because you don't have a college degree. So they paid me as a landscaper. And I was cutting the grass and watering the lawn and doing that. And one day, one of the fathers of the kids I was coaching drove up in a Cadillac, and I'm driving a Dodge van. And I said, what are you doing? He says, I sell insurance. And I go, what's that? He says, come have lunch. That was 1972. I had no skill set except I played baseball. And that's all I really knew at the time. And for a few years, I struggled big, but at the same time, I went out and And correspondingly, because they didn't have computers in the 70s, I got an accounting degree. And I started teaching continuing education in accounting, of course, in the economic value of life insurance and how to save money through life insurance. And most of the accountants I was meeting were handling entertainment people because this is LA.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's how I got into the entertainment business. And it's kind of like a few years into it, I fell into being a sports agent because some of my clients were baseball players, and I saw a lot of players coming out of the business broke. I mean, they,
Yep.
a few years out, they didn't know what they were going to do.
Mhm.
Trying to get them to saving money into insurance policies, and I was pretty successful at it. And we had some breakthrough deals. And one day, somebody called me up and said, "Can you do my deal for me?" I said, "Sure." And I did the contract. And next thing you know, correspondingly, I was going to law school.
Jeez.
Is there anything you haven't done?
No, but they didn't have computers in those days.
Right.
Yeah.
Taft Law School, filling out the paperwork and doing this back and forth. And while I didn't finish, I learned enough just to be dangerous and to, being able to represent players and having the accounting degree made me twice as dangerous. And next thing you know, we had hundreds of players, and my insurance practice was flourishing. And 20 years into it, I ended up selling my part of the sports agency and ended up just staying in the insurance business, which I feel very comfortable in, helping guys putting money away and doing estate planning and doing deferred compensation plans. And that's something I've been doing now for just about 50 years.
Mm. You're I'm sure you've seen the movie Jerry Maguire. You know Jerry Maguire. You've represented, you've done so much. Other than Bobby, so tell our listeners some of the other gentlemen that you've represented over the years.
Oh, well, there was George Brett,
George Brett.
Barry Bonds, Mike Piazza, Kurt Schilling, Jose Canseco, Ricky Henderson, just to name a few. Brady Anderson, Brett Saberhagen.
Real deal.
I've been very, very lucky, and
You've been blessed.
So-
Because you care about people, and I was telling Jeff this before you came on. You took the time to talk to me, which is very rare these days, especially in our industry, because everybody's kind of in a threatening mode of, who's going to steal my client and who's going to, try to poach my guy. And you just a real person. And that's why you probably represented a lot of these guys, because they just saw who you were as an individual, and there was no hiding who you were. I saw it the first time you and I talked. It just, you're that dude. And that's why people trusted you.
Funny you say that. Last night, I got all of these text messages from former players, wishing me happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Look, again,
it was pretty funny.
First of all, how many players have a day named after him? Like, seriously, it's not many, other than Jackie Robinson. And there's a lot of merit to what that situation brought to you and to Bobby and to the industry. And they should be texting you. I texted you, and I posted on my Facebook, and I was I was ecstatic that you're actually on Facebook and you commented on it, because most of the time you get the assistant doing it. I thought Tanya was going to do it. So you're just that down to earth guy, and that's something that I think this world is missing a lot of these days, is because so many people are so paranoid of other people that just got to sit back and enjoy what you do, be blessed, feel blessed, look out for your family. You have beautiful children, I know you have, and a great career, and you've done so much in your life, and that's why you're not afraid to sit there and talk and say hello to people.
I love talking to people.
Yeah.
I tell people when I played, I could hit a little bit, I could really run, but I could talk. Those were my three tools.
You were a leader. Being a leader on the field is just as important, right?
I love the game. I love being around the game.
What when you started playing in your youth, what was your outlook of the game? Just loving the game and playing it, or did you truly think you were going to go out there and be a major leaguer someday?
None of that. I just wanted to be part of a team. Just loved being around the guys playing the game, and made me a part of something. You know, I grew up in a very tough area. A lot of games, a lot of fighting, a lot of trouble. If you take a look at where Gardena is in Gardena, California, or South Central LA, you know, I played in a game or played for a team that was almost an all black team, and it was in the middle of the Watts riots. We could see the fires all over the city. And it was awful. I had teammates that became major league stars. I mean, stars, not just good players. And one of them became like the first black general manager, Bob Watson. There was Bobby Tolan. We were all teammates on the same team. Reggie Smith was a teammate. I mean, we had Eddie Murray was our bat boy.
Jesus.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. No.
That's awesome.
No. But
what about analytics? What do you got to say about analytics in the game?
I think analytics are wonderful. I just think that if you get caught up in them, you're not going to be a good player. You have to let your natural talents and the thing right here help control the game, and also the thing up here.
Yep.
I mean, Ted Williams was my hitting coach with the Red Sox. He was a lot of people's hitting coach, but he was mine too. And I spent hours and hours and hours with the game. And we had no analytics in hitting, but he had a philosophy, and he told you how to hit, and you know what he said made sense, and I tried to replicate it. Didn't have his power, didn't have his vision or his bat speed, but I got on base and swung the bat, could run.
You weren't the long ball type, but you did what you had to do to stay on the field and do what you had to. But you were vocal. Again, leaders are needed in the game. And leaders are important in the game. I don't think it's always got to be about hitting the ball out of the park. You know, spray the ball around, play some small ball, and I think that's part of what the game has not been as emphasized anymore. You agree?
Yes. Oh, I played for some Hall of Famers. I played for Whitey Herzog. I played for Dick Williams. Jackie Moore was in the Hall of Famer, you know, let's say in the Hall of Fame, but to me, he was a Hall of Famer as a manager. Roy McMillan. I mean, I played for really good people. I even played in the Mexican League one year. That was a great experience.
What do you think of the Mexican League?
I thought it was really great baseball. Had one of the greatest times of my life because that's all we did was play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had some.
What about going to school versus the draft? I mean, where do you lie on that? Do you think a kid should come out at a high school or develop a little bit more into college and get an education and then come out?
If you're special and you have the ability to get millions of dollars, you can take it and go back to school. If
I agree.
if you're not drafted in the first few rounds and you leave school early, here you are, 18 years old, competing against guys that are 21 and 22. It's tough.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Going,
if you don't perform right away, you won't stay. And
mhm.
a lot of times you don't get to play as much if you don't get the big money. And it it really hurts your rhythm. So
I agree.
you know, but everybody's different. Everybody's different. I mean, if you got the heart and the will, you overcome some of that stuff. And just depends on the individual. You can't say, what do I think? It's what they think and what
Right.
they believe and how much they believe in themselves.
Well, look, I think you're always taught to believe in yourself. Always, you got to have I tell my son this all the time, and I hope he's listening, which I believe he is, Dylan, and Dominic. That when I played the game and I stepped into a batter's box, nobody was able to beat me. And even if you did beat me, the next time I was beating you, because I had that mindset where I was out there to have fun no matter what, but you weren't going to beat me because I was better than you. And if you go in there with that type of mindset, you can succeed, but you're always going to learn in this game that you can fail more than you succeed. You just have to be able to rebound from it. And that's the difference between talented ball players that make it to the top versus non-talented or very talented ball players, but they can't turn the page.
You know, and it's so sad because the people that can't turn the page and play too many years in the minor leagues, they come out.
Yep.
And it's like being a king. It doesn't really train you for everything. I got lucky. I found something that I wanted to do or that I like doing, which is talking. I can't make that up. And
I no, I believe you. I told Jeff I sat with you for 10 hours the first time I met you, but I enjoyed every minute of it. Literally.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
I do have a
We
question.
got plenty of time.
So, besides, I mean, everybody, I guess, talks about the Bobby Bonilla deal or whatever. And obviously, it's probably your favorite. What's your second favorite contract that you ever did? One that you sat back and said, I'm glad I did that.
I don't have to think twice. There were a couple that were really, maybe 4 or 5 that I thought were really, really special.
Yeah.
Jose Canseco's second multi-year contract was extremely tough because after the first 5 years, he was injured most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I redid it with Dan Duquette of the Red Sox, I mean, it was just a tough deal, but we ended up, keeping it at a very, very high level. Made him and he was still one of the highest paid players in the game. That was a very tough deal. Another tough one, another happy day was Bonds' deal with San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
We had some competing teams, and the Giants just stepped up, and it wasn't the contract itself; it was how gracious,
What year was that?
70. No, I'm sorry, it was 92 or 93, I believe.
So was that the same time frame where he was a free agent and Greg Maddux was a free agent or something like that, and it was tossed between the Braves, and that's why Maddux went to the Braves?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different time.
There was no toss-up. I mean,
Okay. Oh, it was Giants all the way through.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, regardless of what people say, was, in my opinion, the greatest hitter ever.
You think you should be in the hall?
I mean, he's the greatest hitter ever, of course.
What about Pete?
I can't tell you. I mean, they got rules. I mean, I think Pete Rose was a great hitter, no doubt about it. Great hustler. I mean, Charlie Hustle.
Charlie Hustle.
Charlie Hustle.
You know,
I don't know. I
great for the game. You know, my opinion. I'm not a voter. You know, so I don't want to criticize anybody who votes. You know, but
I look at it like this. Me personally, okay, I'm going to go on record. I don't give a damn if those guys did whatever they did, performance enhancing drugs or whatever they want to call it. You still have to have the eye and hand coordination to do what you did. Number one. Now, can I, sitting back in media time back in the 90s when Bonilla played for the when Bonds played for the Pirates and he hit maybe 15, 20 home runs and then magically he's hitting 65? Yeah, that's a question mark. I'll give you that. But he still has to do what he did.
Why is it a question mark? Guys could go in the offseason and get jacked.
I get that, but I'm just saying you went from being 180 pounds. I mean, this isn't like the movie The Program here. So,
but hold on, time out.
But they changed the game is what I'm getting at. Whether it was for good or for bad, or however everybody wants to label it, I don't care. I personally don't give a shit.
Guys they go into the off season knowing they have to get bigger and stronger because they're coming up on free. Look, I'm not making a judgment one way or the other about that stuff. My thing is every client I talk to, and I'm sure Dennis has done this exact same thing. The off season is not the off season. The off season is to it's to be prepared for the season.
Yeah.
You have to come into spring training ready to go. And if you're in the middle of a contract year, you better be starting the day the season ends.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
And
there's no time to break.
That's where I'm getting at with Bonds and McGuire and Sosa and the rest of those guys in the 90s. They changed the game, man. Like they changed it. They made baseball for young. I mean, we were in our 20s, but I mean, for younger kids, they made baseball They watched it again, and where people stopped watching baseball for a while.
Well, the strike didn't help.
And the strike sucked, but I'm just saying it changed the game. And I think honestly, Rafael Palmeiro, Mark McGuire, Bonds, put them in the Hall of Fame, dude. Like, I don't need an asterisk next to that crap. They did what they did. The record was broke. It's done. Period.
But I think once you start doing that, and Dennis, I'm sure you agree with
then
this,
you need to put
you got to put you got to put everybody in. Because then A-Rod goes in, all these other guys go
in. They should go in.
Clemens goes in, Schilling goes in. I mean, they all go in.
Put them in.
Right, Dennis?
Well, first of all, Schilling didn't do anything wrong. He should be in.
No, I know. I'm just saying everything that everybody says as far as the voting wise and how they come up with all this crap.
Well, if people throw politics into it, it's moronic.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was not a good pitcher. He was a great pitcher.
Yep.
And I found him to be a good guy because I knew it.
He was a good broadcaster too.
I'll tell you,
I never had a problem with Sheldon.
He was a good guy and a very good client. I have my opinions. Sometimes it's not, politically right to go out and say what your opinions are, so I won't. But I can tell you there are a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame that should not be, and there are guys that are not in the Hall of Fame that should be in there.
I agree with that.
I don't disagree with that.
And
You're in the Hall of Fame. You were. I read that. Tell us, you are in the Hall of Fame, my friend.
The Jewish Hall of Fame.
Yes, you are. Hey, man, that's a Hall of Fame. I don't care which Jewish, Italian, it don't matter.
Mazel tov.
Well, you're in the Hall of Fame, my friend. So congratulations on that. Look, it's an accomplishment. And from, like you said, where you came from and how they did that Hall of Fame, you've been honored to. Again, I love him because he's humble too. So
isn't Gene Simmons in that too?
Is he? Gene Simmons?
He may be. He may.
Yeah.
Be.
Huh? I'm not Jewish, but I know my Jewish stuff.
That's
I
right. What do you know from funny, you bastard?
I know Gene Simmons real well. He lives out here.
Yeah, he lives pretty close to you, right?
Yep, he does.
Yeah. Would you ever, I think I asked you this during the winter meetings. You never see yourself over here on the East Coast? You love the West Coast, huh?
I love the West Coast. I love LA.
Yeah. Even with all the traffic and everything these days?
I love LA.
Yeah.
It's the weather. It's where my family is.
Yeah. Man, and you got some pretty sweet tickets when you go to the Dodger game. I mean, you're right behind home plate. You ever want to see Dennis Gilbert? Hey, I haven't seen him on our show and or on
Yeah.
TV or doing something for his charities or all the other jobs he has these days.
Yeah.
Just watch the Dodger game. He's right behind the plate every single time. So, look, Dennis, I want to personally, again, thank you for not only coming on the show, but also for being a mentor to me. And that's, I don't say that lightly. You really opened my eyes to a lot of things when we first met in Nashville. And in a short period of time, we've talked more than some of my closest friends. And I really appreciate everything you have taught me and expressed to me and shared with me with your career and how you've done things. And it's been an honor to continue to keep talking to you. And I hope our conversations continue on for many, many, many years to come. And I can't thank you enough because that stuff means a lot to me. I'm a kid that kind of came up not 100% the same way you did, but in a sense where I got told no a lot. I got told no, you wouldn't do this. I got told no, you can't be an agent. I got told no, you're going to go against Boris and guys like Dennis Gilbert and not, no offense, Dennis, but at the end of the day, like I didn't care. I was driven to do something with my life and driven to help as best I can and make a career out of my life. And because of people like you that did the exact same thing. So thank you.
Well, I had mentors myself. I had people who took care of me. The pitcher on that black team that took care of me was a guy by the name of Doc Ellis. We were high school teammates.
Yeah.
People say he was, a little different, but I'll tell you, he protected me in a place where one would need protection.
Yeah,
That's the way to do it.
that's it. Jeff, you got anything else?
I do not, sir.
Well, Dennis, we're going to let you get back to that beautiful West Coast LA weather. Thank you again. Thank Tanya for, getting you set up and getting us on here with the link. And
You're welcome.
she's awesome. Dennis, we'll talk soon, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And maybe we'll have back on the show soon.
Thank you.
Have a
See you,
great day,
buddy.
buddy. Take care.
All right, guys, there you go. Dennis Gilbert live on the air with us.
Yeah.
Nice guy, dude.
What'd you think?
He's got a lot of knowledge, man.
Got a lot of knowledge. Not only does he have a lot of knowledge, he is very, very humble.
Yeah, he's
I don't know
just
if you know,
chill, man.
like-
He just
Very chill.
yeah.
Talks about the game, talks about what he's doing, has a passion for
Yeah.
insurance. A lot of people think of insurance like insurance salesman. Oh, no. Like I would buy insurance from him in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just because of the way he presents himself.
Yeah.
Just the way he goes about his business.
Yep. No, I like it. I like
he's a
him.
Great, great man. I've said this story a couple times now. Even when we were in the other studio, that meeting with him that day was everything I could ever hope for in a conversation
Mhm.
with somebody who had way more knowledge than me.
Yeah.
And took the time to sit there and talk to me. And it took me 15 freaking years to talk to this guy. 15 years. And I'm pissed at myself because if 15 years ago I would have talked to him, I'd be living in LA.
Yeah.
I love LA. You love it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just a life lesson. Don't ever be afraid to do anything.
Yeah.
Like I said, it wasn't really starstruck. It was just I never got the right time to do it. And finally I did.
It paid off.
And it paid off.
Yeah.
And you think he did anybody else's show yesterday
No.
or today?
No.
And I'm telling you right now, like he didn't. He said himself, he got a couple of text messages.
Yeah.
It's
What's he
just
like?
another day for him.
Yeah.
But truthfully, it's not just another day. It's a day where he changed the game.
Yep.
He changed the business part of the game. And that's not easy to do. Analytics has changed the game.
And
it took years
100%.
and years to implement that.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Gilbert changed the game with Bobby Bonilla's contract.
Yep. Sure did.
So thank you, Dennis. And thank you, everybody who joined. I hope you enjoyed this first show of our official guest,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have more to come. We got
Yes,
Terry
we will.
Collins, who's want to come on the show.
Yep.
Jeff is working on
Working on a 3.
the
I'm
3-peat.
working on the 3-peater.
The 3-peater? I
Working
like
on
it.
that one.
Talked
to him on Father's Day, by the way.
You wished him a happy Father's Day?
I did.
Man, a boy.
Yeah.
See, that's how you keep the relationship.
Damn right.
All righty.
Hopefully I get a nice gift in the mail.
Don't look at it like that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Um,
but seriously, bring it in.
Yeah. So
yeah.
this is day one of how we were going to be running the shows. You know, we're always going to have something on or somebody on during each one of our shows. That's our goal, to bring a guest on each and every show. And, you know, if you liked what you saw today, click like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Instagram, to our Facebook, to all of our social media platforms.
Feel
we're on
free
Spotify.
To share it. Share
it,
the link.
Share it with your friends. We picked up a lot of new friends today. I said it wrong earlier. He said you said it right, actually. Jeff pronounced it correctly on our friend Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
And we had a couple other people that signed up. So we thank you for hitting like and subscribe. And we will see you next time on the Diamond. Thank you very much, everybody. Jeff, great show.
Daniel, thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. We'll see you next time, everybody. Take care.
See ya.